Welcome to Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris, the best college podcast where I continue to do my best to share, give, suggest, provide ideas on how to get through college, not survive college. Sometimes it feels like a war zone, but it's not. So I'm doing my best not to say survive college. College is fun, but there's a right way and a wrong way to get through college. And my whole goal and objective here is to help you get through college successfully. Once again, I'm the author of Getting the Most Out of Your College Experience. I hope you all having a great summer. Let's get right to our topic for today. We're still doing, this is still part of the episode of real students, real cases. So I'm going to be looking at another case today. What is the case that we're looking at today? It has to do with sexual misconduct. We're talking about sex. And by the way, some of you have said this is one topic that I haven't really addressed or touched on. And my approach to that is very simple, abstinence, right? But we'll get to that. So yes, we're going to be talking about sexual misconduct today. Since this case, I was researching the topic to discuss for this real cases, real students on this episode. And this is what came up. So it has to do with sexual misconduct. Let's get right to it. And I will use this opportunity to share more about sex as it relates to college. All right, so real cases, real students. Let's look at our case for today. Okay, this case has to do with Ohio State University. The headline was that Ohio State University reaches $1 million settlement with nearly 300 sex abuse survivors. This is fresh out of the gates, January 3rd, 2026. And so let's look at the case. Ohio State reaches $1 million settlement with nearly 300 sex abuse survivors. June 3rd, Ohio State University has reached a $1 million settlement with nearly 300 former students who had accused the school's campus doctor of sexually assaulting them decades ago. The school and a lawyer for the victims said on Wednesday. The settlement with 279 of the 280 former students was ratified by the university's board on Wednesday. It followed years of litigation over accusation of decades of abuse by Richard Strauss. All right. This is actually a situation where you go to the doctor, right? It's a college situation, but it's a doctor on campus that sees a lot of people with medical attention. Unfortunately, the doctor probably takes advantage of these people. So it's a little different, but not entirely. The reason why this came to mind was because as instructors and all the different stories that I've heard about students being so vulnerable when it comes to grades and what they have to do, and sometimes it leads to this situation where, of course, there are different victims to the situation, and I'm referring specifically to students or instructors' authority, instructors' power, right? Instructors do have so much power, so sometimes they tell you, hey, do this, and maybe you're in a place where you really have a very high respect for this instructor and really don't know what to do but to give in to the proposal by that instructor. And unfortunately, if it's them requesting or asking for sex, you feel like you don't have anything to do, and that's also very wrong. Now, there's been a lot of allegations, and I've been part of I've been in institutions where instructors have been fired when they were found out, but again, not 300 people, usually one or two, and something happens. As my approach to my episodes and my podcast, my focus is always on the students, so I'm going to lean more towards the students. I preach abstinence, but nobody listens to me anyways. But maybe this is an opportunity, if you find yourself in this situation, to first say to that person, whether the instructor or professor or whoever it is, to say, hey, sorry, I'm abstaining, right? That's probably the easiest way. However, There are situations where students feel so vulnerable, and I always share this with parents and everyone. We have no idea what students would do for a grade. And I'm not even talking about a good grade. I'm talking about just a grade to pass a class. We have no idea how low students will go to get that grade. And for that, I preach this. It is not the end of the world. I'd rather fail the class. I'd rather lose my financial aid. Anything but to give into an instructor sexually just so I could get a good grade. Nobody benefits in this situation, and everybody is going to be in trouble one way or the other. Yes, the student can come out and say, well, I was an instructor, I had nothing to do, they have much power than me, so I had to give in. Okay, that is an excuse because there are different ways to approach the situation. If an instructor is making advances to you, please talk to somebody. Talk to an advisor. Talk to a friend that you could trust. That is step one. There is no way where the solution to anything, no matter what an instructor says, has to be sex. No, there is no way. And that is the way I'm going to leave it. Again, this situation with the doctor, and lead us not into temptation. There's a lot of temptation out there. Sometimes professors and students, they all kind of give into the situation. But for me, my suggestion to you in this situation, if you're going to listen to me anyway and abstain, you're good. If not, be careful, protect yourself out there. But when it comes to the situation, there's also the reason for why most instructors are expected to have open door policies, so we don't run into the situation. I'm not going to get into Title IX and all that. I'm keeping it very simple, but there's different ways. You're all adults out there, consent, non-consensual, you all know what to do. But my suggestion to you is be smart about the situation, and remember this, done. A grade is a grade. I know it's much probably easier for me to say, but I also know what toll it can take on you. But rather fail, rather do anything than to give yourself up for that. So that is really all I wanted to say on this subject. We could get more into college and sex discussions later and what is happening. Be careful out there. By all means, be careful out there. But, this situation, again, just brought to mind one that I wanted to touch on so far as how vulnerable students become when it comes to their grades and how, unfortunately, some ill-intended instructors or professors could take advantage of the situation. Okay? All right. Study hard, work on your grades, and if anyone is trying to take an advantage of you sexually, there's a better way to approach that. Don't give in to that. There's nobody's right. Don't give your right to anyone, and don't let anyone take it. There you have it. Real cases, real students. Let's talk Ed with Professor Chris. My beer to you, as usual. Balance, exercise, eat well, and rest. Stay cool, may I add. It's very hot out there. See you on the next episode of Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris. Wished I had before going to college. And it's also the book I hope I had while I was in college. Get a copy of Getting the Most Out of Your College Experience now. You can get it online at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, iTunes, and Google Play. If you want a signed copy, you can go to my website at www.letustalked.com. Get your copy and let's continue to talk ed. Thank you.